Mompreneurs, it's not business, baby. It's business and babies. Whether you're rocking the carpool line, building your business during nap time, or dreaming big after bedtime, we've got the tools, tips, and strategies to help you grow your business. Grab a snack, your headphones, and enjoy this time with us, because mom life and boss life deserve balance.
Carrico is an award-winning soul business success coach. She empowers women to transform their lives by discovering their purpose and creating 6- and 7-figure soul-aligned businesses. Through her coaching services and speaking engagements, Erica guides soulful entrepreneurs in building and scaling their businesses to global empires, enabling them to quit their 9-to-5 jobs and earn a living doing what they truly love, their life purpose. Erica holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Business Administration, and she has over 12 years of international business leadership experience. Despite having 2 children, she built a multi-million-dollar coaching business in just over 4 years. Wow. Driven by her passion for helping clients worldwide transform their lives and create soulful global businesses while expressing their own soul purpose. Erica's work has been featured in esteemed publications such as Forbes, the New York Times, and Inspired Coach magazine. Erica, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so looking forward to this conversation and being here with you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Can you tell us about your journey and how you left your 9-to-5 and then became an entrepreneur, right?
I think when every entrepreneur looks back on their journey, they see that there were a lot of decisions that they were making at the time that led them to where they are now and to starting their business. And, I was always that person that I was never great in a job. Like, I did not like having a job. I would try and, when I would take a new job, I would tell myself like, okay, I have to stay here for a year because it needs to look good on my resume. And then I have to stay at the next one for 3 years because it needs to look good on my resume. And then I have to stay at the next one for 5 years because I can't be bouncing from job to job. So there was like all these little signs of just me being really restless in any kind of position I ever took, really feeling like my roles were pointless. Like I was in corporate for a long time, and why was I earning millions of dollars for a company that had millions of dollars? I felt for so many years that I was, just wasting, I guess, my life away. I was unhappy. I was miserable. I was depressed. I was anxious. And after about 10 years of that, I finally realized, well, actually, I was diagnosed with cancer, and that was a really big sort of wake up call for me. But at that point, I realized, I can't continue to live my life like this. I am here for so much more. I have my own work, my own medicine, my own gifts that I'm here to share with the world. And I cannot keep, holding them in because I'm afraid or because other people tell me that starting a business is irresponsible and I'll never be able to make money that way. And I need to do the safe thing by my family and have the job, right? And I think for me, cancer was such a blessing because it's what made me realize, like, I might die. I might not be here in 2 years. I might not have a whole lifetime ahead of me. I was only 36. And, as scary as it was, it's what really was the pivotal moment for me to realize that I have to do something different or I will not make it. And so I spent the years after really looking at my life and letting go of everything that was not a part of my mission or why I'm here, and only building it up in ways and with things that truly are. And my business has been obviously the number one sort of driving vehicle of me and my healing journey.
I love that. I think that's so empowering to do the things that really serve us and letting go of the things that don't, right?
I think our bodies feel it when we're not. My cancer was in my kidneys, and that is like where we hold toxicity. And so by me just holding so much in of like, I don't like my job. I'm unhappy in my marriage. I'm bored in my life, right? Like my body just couldn't handle it anymore. And it started turning on itself.
Well, that's something that we have to kind of look into sometimes ourselves when it comes to our bodies and what's, how you said, letting go of what's not really serving us, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I love your phrase that you said, bouncing forward. So I love that because instead of bouncing back, you talked about how you instead use bouncing forward. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit like going through that difficult season, kind of at the same time that you were diagnosed with kidney cancer. By the way, are you good?
Yes, I have been cancer free. Yes, I am cancer free.
Oh
And
my God, thank God.
healthy. Yeah. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Hallelujah. So during that time, you were also going through a divorce at the same time meeting with clients. Can you take us through kind of like your lessons learned and how you were able to bounce forward?
Yeah, I really think that, I mean, letting go of my marriage was another part of my journey. And I think a lot of women entrepreneurs face this is when you start your own business and you are on the growth path, building a business requires a lot of personal development, a lot of personal growth. And I think what I've seen with, the thousands of women I've coached at this point is that when our partner is just sort of staying here and we're going here, we really do grow apart. And so leaving my marriage was definitely, it was a pretty horrendous divorce. I would say, the divorce is final, but we're co-parenting and there's still a lot of challenges there. So I think though that every challenge we face, my cancer, going through my divorce, all the challenges that we face, I think, are stepping stones for something greater. And I really think that bouncing forward, instead of bouncing back, it's like, let's look at what we're going through. And as cheesy as it might sound, how can we actually grow through it? And I think that everything is placed on our path for a reason. And I look back at my cancer and my divorce, and it has made me such a strong woman and a strong business owner and a strong leader for my team that I would not be who I am today or where I am had it not been for those challenges, happening in my life.
I love that because, one of the things that you said that you were able to guide women through their difficult seasons because
Right.
you've been there, right? And I think that's so powerful because when we're in those difficult seasons, it's really tough for us to see the silver lining or tough for us to kind of like see what is this all worth, right?
Yeah.
So how did you, like, what kept you going? How did you kind of like broke through all of your setbacks and what looked like maybe the end of your world
Right.
but you still pushed through, you still pushed forward.
Right. I had to really remember why I was here. And anytime, through cancer, it was like that was actually the thing with me when I had my cancer was really getting quiet and listening. And the word that kept coming through to me, and I didn't understand at the time, was the word remission. And I was like, remission, but I don't know if I'm going to be in remission. I don't know if this cancer is going to leave. Is it going to come back? Is it going to spread? I don't know that. But I kept hearing the words remission. And one day it was like someone just whispered in my ear. It was like, remission, remember your mission, remember why you're here. And it was like, oh my God, this is not about me. I am not here as a soul to be this like, I'm not here as a soul to slave away in somebody else's dream. I'm not here as a soul to be unhappy and miserable in my marriage, to be exhausted, to be drained. I am here as a soul because I have a purpose. I have a mission. I am here for something greater. I'm here to be of service. And I had to remember that. And so anytime I'm going through a challenging time, and we all do in our business, especially when you're growing, you're going to have hard times. It's going to be challenging. You're going to think about quitting. And I always remember that this isn't about me. It's truly not about me. And there have been times where I've had to really tap into that because it does get hard. And then what keeps me going is remembering that I am here to change other women's lives. And when I think about the amount of women that I've been able to help grow their business, which has allowed them to leave their jobs, to be more present for their kids, to become time free, to become financially free, and then them impacting clients, it's like the ripple effect out there is just one of the main reasons why I do this.
Amen. I love that. I love how you think about like, it's not about me, it's
Yeah.
about others. It's
Yeah.
about empowering others. And it really made you kind of like forget about yourself in essence and kind of like push through and help and serve others, which is a beautiful thing. You talk about the power of money mindset, right? That's
Yes.
one shift that can help women break through their income ceilings.
Yes. It's a hard one, isn't it? But oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, dang it.
It's a hard one. Take us a little bit through that money mindset blocks that you faced, that
Yeah.
you broke through.
Yes, I still have to work on money, girl. Like, let's be real. But I came from a single mom. And when, she was married a few times, and when she was married, we had money, right? Like the men created the lifestyle for us. They moved us into the houses, they bought us the cars, and then she would get divorced and we'd end up, boom, like literally like in the, crappy apartments, driving the crappy cars. And that I'm not saying there was anything wrong with that or her. She was doing the best that she could and what she knew how to do at the time. But what I witnessed was that it's up to men to create the money. It's up to men to create wealth. And so, one, never having money, never coming from abundance. It was always we had the bare minimum. I wasn't living in poverty, but we didn't ever have extra. We never had excess. And there were a lot of things I couldn't do because money was not available. And so that played out in my marriage, right? Like I got married and I was like, great, why are you not creating more money? Or like, why are you not taking this job promotion? Or why are you not reading books about investments? Like, here's this book, read about this and learn how to create wealth. And it was like, how come my husband's not doing this? And it wasn't until 2015, I was 35 years old, that one night it just hit me. I have the ability to create wealth myself. I can do this myself. I do not need a man to do this. I do not need a husband to do this. And so off I went on my own journey. And, I had to go from getting comfortable having, $2,500 a month coming in my business. I've had to grow a lot to now have between 150 and 200,000 coming in per month, right? I also have about 80 to 100,000 a month going out. So in order to get comfortable with that amount of money going out before the money comes in, I've had to do a lot of work around money mindset, like a lot.
Which is absolutely incredible. And I like how you framed it in, hey, you have to also give money in order to
Yes.
receive money in essence.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. There's the polarity there. And I like to be transparent about that because there are so many people out there that are like, oh my God, I'm earning 6-figure months and whatever. Well, let's look at what behind the scene that is not going into your pocket, right? And at this level, it becomes more about impact and less about money because you are not as profitable and because you have higher overhead. But money loves movement, money loves energy. And if you're going to get comfortable with the amount of money coming in, you also have to be comfortable with that amount of money going out because otherwise it gets stagnant and you'll always sort of manifest the amount of bills that, that you've like, let's say you've got 5,000 coming in one month. If you're not comfortable with 5,000 a month going out, you're naturally just going to manifest that amount of money. It's just going to disappear. So there's a lot of energetics behind money and how it works too.
Yes, I have noticed that when it comes to money, you have to change the way that you think in order to understand how to steward over it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of difficult. I have certain things going out and certain things coming in. And you know what? I liked what you said previously when you talked about that even through those difficult seasons or even through maybe good season, maybe you're being profitable, but you still want to quit, right? We still have those days that we're like, man, why are we here? What are we doing? So I know I have some days that are tough that I'm like, man, I got to keep going, And I love how we can flip the script and actually look at, okay, what is that impact that we're making?
Yeah. It's got to be about that. You have to be attached to some kind of a purpose. Like anyone that I have seen who is starting a business just for the sake of money, it never works. It doesn't work because they don't have anything to get them through the challenges and the really hard parts. Like they might make it for a little while, but eventually they're going to quit. When you're in a business and you feel like it's aligned with your purpose, something greater, like I call it a spiritual why. I think we have to have a spiritual why and an earthly why. You're so much more likely to dig deeper when it gets harder because it's like, well, I can't give up. This is part of my purpose. Like this is why I'm here. And it is what keeps me moving for sure in those hard times.
Definitely for me as well. Like one of the things, that spiritual essence of things, I really feel that as though I'm called to do the podcast. So it keeps me going, and like the right things come into play, the right alignment where you think there's a doubt. Sometimes when we think it's a challenge, it's not really a challenge, it's actually a step forward into what we're meant to
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes things have to crumble and sometimes things have to be let go of. And sometimes we have to face certain endings in order to have what is meant to come, right? Like that's very much part of this journey too.
Yes. Like we have to be open to like, everything is what it should be.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking like, oh, I can't do this because you're feeling that resistance.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep, absolutely.
So you've built a multi-million-dollar business while raising two kids. What would you say to the mom who's thinking, I just don't have time to do this?
Well, first of all, you do. You do. Well, even like I just told you, I'm like, I have to end at this because my daughter has a last minute doctor's appointment that I've been waiting for 6 months and I can't say it, right? So it's like we are always juggling the things, even me. But I guess what I say is when I started my business, I was a mom. I had a baby who I was breastfeeding. I had a toddler. I was recovering from cancer at the time. My marriage was falling apart. And what I found, so I had like very limited time. Oh, I was working full time. I also had a full-time job. Let me just throw that in there. So I had very limited time, but I knew that this was going to be important for me. I knew that this business was going to be a vehicle for so much in my life and in my kids' life. And I knew that if I focused on just the needle moving revenue generating activities, that my business would get there. Right. So I had like 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays after my kids went to bed from like 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. I was tired, but that was all I had. And then I had someone watch my kids for a few hours on Sunday mornings. And so I literally had like 10 hours a week. And my whole strategy that I teach inside of my business, that I teach my clients, is $10,000 months in 10-hour weeks. So if you have 10 hours a week to dedicate to a business, less than, I even say 2 to 5 to get started, and 10 hours once you're already around the 5 to 8,000 a month mark, because you have some clients at that point, but you can have a 6-figure business in less than 10 hours a week. It does not have to be a full-time thing if you're focused on the right activities to build it.
For someone listening who dreams of quitting their 9 to 5, but doesn't know where to start, what's the first step they should take?
Figure out what your purpose is. Figure out what your purpose is and how can you figure out, like, start a business that's in alignment with that.
Know that you created a business that allows you to travel the world and spend time in the mountains. What does freedom actually look like for you on a daily basis?
Well, I think being able to do, what it is that I want to do. Like I think it's when you're a mom and you're working full time, you don't have, when are you supposed to do the doctor's appointments? And when are you supposed to do the things to take care of yourself, right? So it's like, one, I have control over my day. So I can do all the things I need to do during the day. Obviously I do still work, and then I think to have the freedom to take vacations whenever I want to take vacations, and to be able to work a lot less in the summertime when my kids are home so we can travel. I don't have anyone that tells me where I need to be, when I need to be there. So my time is truly my own. And I really struggled with that when I had a 9 to 5. It was like, you're going to tell me that I have to sit in this desk from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Are you crazy? This is like jail. So to have, control over my day and my time means everything to me. I am psychologically unemployable at this point. I could never go back to working for somebody else.
Ditto. I think that's why we have this type of mentality as moms in entrepreneurship, as far as like we can do this, right? That's how I feel like what we tell ourselves as we move forward and bounce forward instead of bouncing back, right? Like we can do this. Sometimes there's no other option. We have to
Right.
do this. This has to this has to work, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Fast forward 5 years. What's next for Erica? Any big
Oh,
dreams on the horizon?
well, that's a good question. So, my book is actually coming out this spring, and it's actually about taking that first step. So, you want to leave 9 to 5, you want to start your own business, but you have no idea what that is. The book is actually called Awaken Your Purpose. So, it takes women through the process of figuring out what is their purpose, why am I here, and what business can I start that will take me out of my 9 to 5. So that the book is coming out, which I'm really excited about. And then, yeah, I mean, just I think continuing to grow. My dream personally is to impact 1 million women around the world to be like connected with their purpose and living their purpose, obviously for their sake, but for everybody else who will be on the receiving end of their work too. I think that's how we can really like create change in the world. I think all of us doing what we're supposed to be doing has got to have some kind of effect on humanity.
Amen. That is so powerful. Just being able to impact others and then having that vision for 1 million women to impact them. I think that's incredible. I think that really shows your resolve in the way that you're moving forward with your business, because sometimes we play small,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yep. And sometimes we don't know we play small, right? Sometimes it takes people to point that out to us. Like that's why, and you're probably the same. I'm always working with a coach or a mentor, someone who can point that out in me and say, hey, you are playing at a level, like you are past that now. It is time for you to get past that, to get over yourself, move here. Like it's so easy for us to get comfortable and and we can't see our own limitations.
Yes, I know. I noticed that within myself, that there were so many, like I reflected past 2024 into now 2025, and I was reflecting upon how I approached things, and I noticed I was literally playing small, that I missed important opportunities to really step up into my true purpose as far as like how I am meant to show up. Like almost like a self-sabotaging way. I noticed
Totally.
that right? Sometimes we self-sabotage.
Yeah. Yeah, we all do. I do as well. And it's like, no matter where you are, people think that because I have a multi-million-dollar business now that doesn't happen to me, but it's not true. It's like new level, new devil, like you're constantly having to grow and expand. And at this level, your problems are bigger, your responsibilities are heavier, the failures are more massive and impactful, right? Like it's a whole nother, you're constantly having to look at yourself and work through your own stuff. That doesn't ever stop.
That never stops. And like that self-criticism, I know I face it at times, that I try
Yeah.
to stop myself when I get there, because it will turn my energy into something that I'm not able to really show up 100%. So I noticed that in order for me to go to those next levels, I have to change my mindset on what I'm saying to myself.
Totally.
Because if I don't have the energy to move forward, where am I going to end up? Because energy, well, I just turned 40. So energy is just, yay. Energy has been the biggest deal for me, because I see where I'm going. I see where I want to go. But if I don't have the energy to get there, you get what I'm saying? Then I won't
Totally.
get there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love what you said too about so it's like you have to make decisions from where you want to be and be in the energy of the place, like the energy of the place that you want to be. So, like, if you want to have a 6-figure business or multiple 6-figure business, you have to show up in the energy of that way of being, right? Like as a 6-figure business owner, as a multiple 6-figure business owner, how am I going to show up today? How am I going to make decisions? How am I going to work through this problem, right? So it's like putting yourself in the energy of where you want to be and making decisions from that place. And that's how you're going to get there eventually.
I completely agree with you. I think that is so powerful and key when it comes to pursuing entrepreneurship, especially saying that phrase, like, I don't have the time to do it. It really is, do you have the energy? Because if I think time and energy kind of like go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So we always have a form that everyone fills out. And you ended one of your responses with the most powerful words, be the woman who doesn't wait for permission to shine. What does that mean to you? And how can every woman listening start living that way today?
I love that. I think so many of us are taught from a young age to be quiet and don't be so loud and raise your hand and ask for permission. And it's like we are constantly asking for permission, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, our family, our parents, our partners. What are they going to think about this? What are my friends going to think if I do this? What is my family going to think if I do this? And we're subtly asking for permission. And I've got to tell you, we're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. And so it's like you have to give yourself the permission. And if it is a dream and if it is a desire of yours, that seed was planted for a reason. And it is there because that is something you are meant to follow and pursue. And so literally, as soon as I was like, I stopped worrying about what everybody else was going to think. I stopped taking other people's advice. I stopped asking people for their opinions. I put my head down. I started this business. I didn't talk about it to any of my family and friends until they started asking questions a year later, once I had been on like media publications and in podcasts and had had some success. But it was because I finally gave myself the permission and I wasn't afraid to shine anymore.
That's very pivotal. I love that we can give ourselves our own permission to shine, right? Instead of waiting for that permission from others. And I can't believe that it wasn't until you were in publications that you actually mentioned to your family. I think that's also impactful because sometimes we just have to do the work, right?
Yeah. Right. Well, and they talk you out of it. It's like you want a big dream killer. You tell your family and friends what you're going to do. And my husband, obviously we're not together anymore, but he was like, you can't start your business. You're never going to make money being a coach. What are you thinking? Like you have to, fine, you want to start your own business, but you're going to not use our family money. You got to figure out how to make it work yourself. Right. Like it was that kind of a thing. Yeah. And the same thing, I told my mom what I wanted to do. And she was like, people aren't going to pay you for that, Erica. Like they're going to go figure out their purpose on their own. Like that's what I did. I mean, that's the feedback I was getting. So it was like, okay, well, that's depressing. I'm just going to stop talking about this and start doing it. And that was actually a really important part of my journey. Because I think other people, if you start listening to other people, it just waters you down and it puts the fear in there and it makes you second guess yourself even more.
And it goes back to what we were talking about with energy, right? And, they'll put us in an energy that really doesn't propel us forward, right?
Yeah.
So being careful, like you said, having that six-figure energy in order to show up and understanding, like, imagine if you were to tell someone how much money you're letting go, but you understand that, hey, I know how this works. I know how much money is going to also come in. But when we kind of like tell others, they project their own fears on us at times, that we really have to be careful when we're pursuing our passions or our dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to go into a new segment called Rapid Fire.
Yay. I love these.
All right. All right. Let's wrap this up with some quick fire fun. Coffee or tea?
Oh my gosh, coffee girl all the way.
What's your go-to mountain activity? Skiing, hiking, or backpacking?
I would say hiking. Hiking, yes. Hiking and then skiing and then backpacking in that order.
If you could only give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Start the business and start it sooner. Yes.
I agree with that one. Erica, this has been incredible. Where can people connect with you, work with you, and get inspired by your content?
Amazing. My website, ericacarrico.com, has my courses on there. There's a life purpose course, a couple business building courses, a couple of free trainings. I'm always doing free trainings on Instagram, which is Erica Lynn Carrico. And yeah, if you Google search, everything pops up. So thank you.
And please Google search her because she is absolutely incredible. And I am just honored to have her on the podcast. Thank you so much, Erica, for being here.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.